After a very shitty Infinite Warfare from Infinity Ward, the developers decided to pull themselves together, score on the setting of the future, which had long been boring, and speed on successful ideas for the Second World War, transferring them to modern reality, one of the best but still inferior to the original Modern Warfare trilogy in the game series. It came closer to reality staying with this unpretentious arcade game, using still resources veiled for fictional events and getting rid of a bunch of cool Michael Bay scenes, which is perhaps bad, but not inherent in such an approximation of a realistic game. But in fairness, because of this, it became more boring, which is, especially for this series of games, is not good. Anyway, let's move to the game and see what's wrong with it. The game starts from the middle of the game in order to assume us to the beginning to show how it all began cliché. And the game began with armed forces of army which came to steal Russian gas to prevent some kind of garbage that this Russian want to do with it. And this Russian army, shining a flashlight in our direction, stupidly refused to notice us. Let's scan the area to make sure there is no Russian army there. Okay, we looked through the binoculars at the gate and instantly made sure that there was not a single Russian in entire base.
In South Gate, you are cleared hot.
The soldiers at the south gate, said Alex, after which the fighter jet blew the airstrikes, including the soldiers at the south gate, who could not be killed. And by the way, they didn't bother at all about the fact that these containers with gas were contaminated by an airstrike. In order to peek out from behind you need to click 5 on the mouse. I don't know, maybe I have some kind of defective mouse, but for some reason I can't find button 5 on it. The main feature of this game are small narrow locations with limited terrain. During the passage, during the aggravation of this first aggravation, because it is harder to determine where the opponents are present, and secondly, due to the small amount of light, looks very realistically, and looks, I might say, very nice.
Hey! We got a problem. These guys are Russian army.
How unexpected! Your inspection of the ground, finding the check of the gate, somehow failed, with the exception of the gate, which may be somewhere else.
Jackpot.
The protagonist has just taken a sample of the dirt on the barrel and not the gas inside of it. In order to blow up our column, Al-Qaeda members set fire to and launch into our burning car in the hope that it would hit at least one of us. What are mines or rocket launchers or grenades, these dudes don't know.
Norris, give us a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
From a black woman giving orders to white men, you can immediately determine what year this game is.
Russians.
Captain Price instantly knew that the problem is in the Russians, not knowing about what they understood with Russian procedures.
Where? Paris, New York.
London.
Precisely why these three cities? Who knows, for some reason the terrorists like them the most. And by the way, this poking was observed in the firmament by the truth and the terrorists whom they go exactly to London.
Terror threat level is now critical. Possible multiple attackers. Bombers or something worse.
The level of terrorist threat may be high, but all of this is not a reason to evacuate people to a safer place. A terrorist with a machine gun, instead of shooting at a defensive marine, decided to stab him with a knife, because in close combat it is much easier with a recognized military owner. He is by no means able to repel an attack and give him guns.
Captain Price. Sergeant Carrick. You with me?
This, of course, is not opening of the door, but something like that. In any explosive, there must be a screen with a large-scale depicted timer so that it ticks beautifully in a frame cliché.
And I make no distinction between Al-Qaeda and the Russian army. They're both terrorists.
There are no comments here. For such statements, I can only praise this game and remove one scene.
C4 with remote detonator.
As my instincts tell me, the American military most likely know what it is. You don't have to explain it to him.
How do I look?
How do you look? Like an American soldier in balaclava. None of the Russians will pay attention to his uniform. Minus the scene for a true image of a Russian army, the likes of which I have not yet met. If you like the mission with mafia crates, then you will definitely like the mission with cedar blocks and very slow walking in this game. I see this soldier, but how do you see him through the closed door?
This is a goddamn war crime.
Alex is surprised of the war crimes of the Russian army. And how could Modern Warfare be without references to the Modern Warfare? At least we're not staring at men's crotch this time. And again. And again.
No grenades, so we improvise.
Not bad.
Bandera smoothie goes well with the body of a Russian soldier. You don't have a grenade, but there is an infinite number of kamikaze radio-controlled drones. It seems to me that grenades are a little easier to get.
So you do kill Russians?
Only the bad ones.
And here is a difference with reality. In real life, for some reason, Americans are in no hurry to kill Russians. No matter how long I aim at enemies, none of them will even think to notice the laser pointer of their friend's head. After an hour of playing, Price finally got to his favorite activity.
Wherever they send me.
You don't choose.
Should I? Do soldiers at least somewhere in some kind of army have the opportunity to choose where to go to fight next time? He put a machete to his throat and for some time stood and did nothing, so it seems to me that he will not kill anyone no matter how long we get to him, waiting for when we let's go into the room and disarm them all. Actually, that's what happened. As you can see, this ambassador is so smart that he wanted to lock the glass door so that a warrior with a machine gun could not pass through it. And now Call of Duty suddenly decided to cosplay Watch Dogs.
What now? That man is in the hallway.
Go right. There's a cart by the door. Stay low. Head to the shredder. Now use it. Back up, back!
And yet the warrior will attract the attention of a working shredder in a place where everything burns, blazes and explodes. The camera was so worried about the death of the Asian woman of an ambassador that it bled itself. This moment with the elimination of the location seems to be cool. You never know where the enemy will be after the light. But when playing for the second time, you notice that they all move according to the script and each time they end up in the same place, which is no longer so interesting. No matter how beautiful this explosion looks, the destruction of the building itself is sorely missed. I don't think that after so many explosions it would be able to continue to stand still. For the scripted moment they could make the animation for this particular building. Even the third Battlefield was not too lazy to do this so long ago. If the door is stuck and you can't open it, you know who to call.
The Russians bombed it during the invasion, killing the people trying to escape.
This is not very fair thing you did, Infinity Ward. Covering Russians with dicks is always welcome, I am all for it. But appropriating to them what the American army did, it's a not very good thing. Developers, aren't you tired of stealing gameplay ideas from your own game 20 years old? If your comrade was shot next to you, naturally the best solution would not be to jump from this house and hide there, but to lie on the floor in the same place where the first one got shot, giving the excellent opportunity for the sniper to shoot you too. Exploding red barrels cliché.
Captain Price is calling on the radio. He says it's urgent.
If it's urgent, why doesn't Price call Alex's personal radio? 2019 in the yard, as it were, even though he may not have a phone with him, but he did have a walkie-talkie. He even talked with Farah not so long ago. By the way, yes, if anyone was interested in what happened to Farah after Prince of Persia and where she disappeared in a second game, then this game will dispel all questions. Before blowing up Russian gas, it would not hurt to put a mask on your face, otherwise, what the point? Okay, you put it on, but no one else knew where the gas was, or that you were going to detonate it, so you consciously wanted to kill both the Russians and your allies along with your sister.
Cover your eyes!
By stretching your hand a little forward, you will not particularly protect your eyes from sparks. This whole flashback in which they demonstrate another Russian occupation of a country that they somehow did not like from the face of a little girl from beginning to an end is made incredibly powerful and at the same time creepy, showing the whole true essence of the Russian army.
You survive. Whatever it takes. Never back down.
A representative of the second from the end, the army of the world, without much difficulty killed by scissors, and then finished off by two small children with kalash. Basically, nothing surprising. If I were you, I wouldn't dare to put on the gas mask that was on the Russian head. You won't die from the gas, but the fumes from it instantly kill you.
Как ты думаешь, что это было?
Без понятия. Может, животное?
Please, tell me which animal on our planet makes sound similar to the old Nokia ringtone. What kind of a truck cab is so small that a child sitting on an armchair reaches the floor so hard? And how big men fit in it?
So you are the little devils that killed my soldiers.
You just said aloud without a drop of shame for your morons that 2 little children managed to defeat them.
He could have killed everyone when he stole the gas, but he chose not to.
He blew up the gas in a place where there was a whole bunch of his allies. What do you mean by decided not to kill anyone?
Further complications and we're at war with Russia.
And why are you still not at war with Russia? Like your soldiers killed their occupiers and vice versa. Isn't that considered a reason to declare war? I approve and support the murder of Russians 100%, but why the dog? Unlike them, he didn't deserve to die.
I came here by choice.
Leave now! And come protecting him!
Where is Hadir now broadcasting from, and how could he saw who came after him now? If it were not the Call of Duty cave without physics, then after this explosion there would be no cave at all. Voice-over of the villain while sneaking into his lair cliché. Any explosive must have a screen with a large timer, so it tick beautifully in a frame cliché.
I'm going back to Urzikstan, staying with Father's army.
In other words, he deserts. But not only will they not imprison him, they will also provide transport somewhere behind the scenes. Otherwise, it is impossible to explain how he managed to get to Farah's army.
Shut up and go in the corner. Any plans you have to escape, you will soon forget. Face me now.
Whoa, he managed to rape her so quickly? I do not believe. But seriously, why did he tell her to go to the corner and turn to the wall so that in a couple of seconds he would tell her to turn around? How does Farah manage to turn away from a rack if this rack is pressed to her mouth with hands of 2?
That's it. Karim. Yes. I know. I've known all along.
Of course you know. One of the answers in the interrogation was I am Karim. From who, damn it? Who the hell does your country give a fuck about? The only terrorists here are you unshaved monkeys. Even Al-Qaeda compared to you look like a group of Arabs who simply confuse a runway with 2 skyscrapers. This is how Russians securely tie leather handcuffs. I think that's what they call it, I don't know. Why put ventilation in the cell so that the prisoner could easily escape from it? I just answered my own questions. Why put a button to open all cameras right next to the cameras so that you can reach it from the nearest camera or hit it with some kind of stone as Farah did? And again I myself answered the questions I posed.
Это еще что? Какое-то движение. Крыся.
2 meters high. You have good rats here. No, seriously, how can you not see her? You have flashlights in your hands. What do you need them for? The representative of the second army from the end of the world, in other words, the composition of a plastic bag, is easily and simply killed with a spoon. And in general, a crowd of girls who spent 10 years in prison and never held a weapon in their hands easily cope with the second army from the end piece. Of course, I will remove the scene for such proximity to reality. Captain Price without a mustache. Now I have seen everything.
The war begins now, brother.
The war has been going on for 10 years now. You are a little behind the times.
Or we let Mother Russia have a taste of her own medicine.
Someone should did it a long time ago.
Привет.
Привет.
Arrivederci. You can't hurt me, you weak piece of shit. But you, Captain. Oh, you can do better than that.
All of a sudden, this Russian decided to cosplay Nico Bellic. For some reason, we were forced to sit in the back seat of the car, even though the front seat was free. And the next time these two appear in the frame, the main character will already be in the front seat. Nikolai signed himself as Nikolai, because in Russia there is only one unique Nikolai who can be recognized by his name alone.
get blood on your hands, Kyle.
What kind of blood are you talking about? You just pretended that you wanted to shoot them. In the end, they were left alive without a single scratch on themselves. What's so terrible about that? The gates were successfully opened thanks to the one and only Captain Pricey. We were given the opportunity to walk a bit around the open location, where we need to clear 3 houses. And this map is made open only for increase of timing, because apart from the buildings themselves, which we need to get into, there is nothing interesting at all. And in this open location at first we will have to play stealth for a long time, which will slow down the pace of the game, and for a dynamic action like Call of Duty it's not very good. At least I didn't really like it. By itself the stealth in the game is not bad, and it is well done here, but there is too much of it here. If there were not 3 buildings but only 1, it seems to me that it would be enough. If Captain Price does not open the door, at least he provides equipment, thanks to which another person can open this door. I cannot calmly look at Price's smile without removing the scene for it. It's way too cute. I can't help myself. Captain Price, together with Alex and Farah, went to Georgia to attack Barkov's laboratory. Because why shouldn't the Russians build a laboratory for themselves in Georgia? They consider the whole world to be part of Russia, and they don't care about the borders and the fact that they are not welcome outside of their country. But I am more interested in how this Barkov, Karim and all of the other terrorists from Al-Qaeda constantly cross the border, highlighting with a flashlight the places where you need to launch a rocket. We have already done this in the game, and for quite a long time. Captain Price knows how to do his main job. What do you mean it's not Price who opened the door? What the hell? Is it legal at all? In order to kill this juggernaut, you need to fire a huge amount of magazine at him, even if you shoot him in the head. And if the helmet protected his head, there would be no questions, but blood seems to fly out of it. Does this mean that my bullets hit his head? Or does his helmet also have a circularity system? I would like to glad that they let me shoot from a minigun, but in a game where they kill me with a couple of shots, what a fucking inconvenient weapon that has to spin before starting to shoot. Why it is added to such a game is unclear. Farah, hiding inside of the helicopter with Barkov, did not think of turning off her walkie-talkie so that she would not be accidentally hurt because of it. With such a shaking helicopter, this gun would immediately roll off the platform already.
I was trying to protect Russia.
From whom he tried to protect the Rushka, he will never say. So Barkov turned into a good Russian, his laboratory exploded and the credits rolled. As for me, the ending isn't epic and Kunless is inferior even to the very first Modern Warfare, where real Hollywood unfolded on that bridge. Here everything is quite ordinary, inexpensive and simple. I ideally remember the ending of the original Modern Warfare to this day, but I will most likely forget this in a couple of days after the passage. And so this new Modern Warfare was... we have a scene after the credits here, for sure. Everything according to the precepts of Marvel. More precisely, before the post-credits scene, another one before the credits, where Captain Price Fury assembles his team of Avengers, because in the world of Call of Duty, anyone can create their own military organization. And in the scene after the credits, they show a military base, along with Nikolai walks along with the American military, because military base is the most ordinary entrance courtyard. Anyone could walk without any restrictions. So this is how the new Modern Warfare turns out. Pretty cool, but still inferior in many ways to the original trilogy. Due to the fact that the original was more caricatured and more cinematic, it was possible to make unique and memorable characters and no less memorable scenes that in some places have nothing to do with reality, especially in the third game, but remain in memory for a long time. This new Modern Warfare tried to go as far as possible into realism, because of which it lost some of its charm and perkiness, but it was still interesting to play despite of this. Well, this is where I will end the video.